Wwise 2025.1 brings major improvements to user experience and production workflow. With the introduction of the media pool, we can search and browse local sound libraries. And freely scrub the playback position while previewing audio. For the search results, regions can be automatically detected and selected, or we can manually choose multiple regions. Using the Region button, regions can be imported into the project all at once. Thanks to Live Edit, the new sounds are updated in-game immediately without generating sound banks. In addition, even when file names are not descriptive, we can still search for sounds using abstract text prompts, such as crunchy. Or dark atmosphere. By right-clicking any result, we can also find similar sounds based on the audio content itself. At the same time, specific metadata fields can be added as filters to further refine the search results. Any adjustments made during preview can also be applied when importing the sound into the project. The naming and hierarchy of the project structure have been unified in this new version. Content that was previously separated across different hierarchies is now placed into clearer groups. Furthermore, the renaming of the main audio bus and the property container makes property assignment and their roles in mixing clearer. In the property editor, several improvements have been introduced. The central divider has been removed, and when resizing or adjusting column width, the content now adapts, making the display more stable and easier to read. Keyboard navigation allows us to switch quickly between different property fields, helping speed up parameter editing. Each object type now comes with default favorites that are automatically loaded when switching between different objects. In addition, the notes field can now be fully expanded and supports full text search, making it easier to document design decisions and quickly retrieve them when needed. For events that are triggered at a high frequency, we can now configure a limit and cooldown time at the event level to restrict how many times the same event can be triggered within a given period. In this case, where many instances occur at once, we can define the maximum number of event instances, as well as the cooldown duration to control how soon the event may be triggered again. This helps prevent excessive repetition of the same sound while also improving runtime performance. When adjusting the volume slider in-game, we can see properties such as volume respond to RTPC values in real time. When an RTPC is set to solo, we can listen only to the effect of this RTPC. When an RTPC is muted, its influence on the property is temporarily removed. This makes it easier to isolate issues and to verify the outcome of our edits. The multiband meter plugin allows us to measure the full band signal as well as 4 user-configured bands. A selected band can output to a gain parameter, allowing us to dynamically attenuate the corresponding band on another bus and achieve band-based sidechain processing. The new parametric EQ provides a visual frequency response graph and supports up to 8 filter bands. Inside the frequency graph, we can adjust each band directly by dragging its control point. A single band can be soloed, allowing us to listen only to the effect of that band on the sound. Dynamics can also be enabled, so that the gain of a band changes in real time based on the input signal or an external control signal. The new sidechaining feature is introduced through a dedicated sidechain mix share set. Using the sidechain send effect, we can send a bus signal into the sidechain mix and select it as the sidechain input in a plugin. This allows to apply level-based dynamic compression in the compressor. Or band-based dynamic processing in the parametric EQ, making ducking behavior natural and highly controllable. Dual shell filter is a new filtering approach that provides a perceptually natural way to shape frequency changes in scenarios such as distance, diffraction, or occlusion. In the game scene, we can compare the distance attenuation results between a low and high pass setup and DSF. With low and high pass filter, the filtering effect can sound more pronounced. While with DSF, the transition feels smoother and more natural. In the attenuation editor, the volume curve under distance attenuation now supports a non option, allowing distance to be applied without a volume change. The new Game Object 3D Viewer further enhances acoustics debugging. The new Settings toolbar at the top allows us to toggle different categories of information so we can show or hide objects of acoustic elements as needed. Frequently used display options can also be pinned to the toolbar, making them easy to access during debugging. On the left, the Game Object list supports visibility control via the eye icons. We can also right-click and choose Show Only Selected to focus on a specific emitter and its related paths. When we click any game object or acoustic path in the 3D view, the Object Properties panel on the right updates automatically, showing information such as object type, position, as well as diffraction, transmission, and other acoustic data. These improvements make it easier to visually inspect the relationship between game object and their acoustic paths. The room component introduces a new distance behavior setting, which defines how distance is calculated when rooms are nested or overlap. In subtract mode, the current room is treated as a distinct space. When the listener enters this room, distance attenuation is applied to the room tone of other rooms. In exclude mode, this room does not participate in the distance calculation of other rooms. When the listener enters this area, the room tone of other rooms are not attenuated. The new ADM recorder plugin allows signals sent to an object-based audio bus to be recorded as an ADM format WAV file. After generating the sound bank, we can start recording during gameplay. Once the recording is complete, the resulting file can be brought back into Wwise, where we can inspect the 3D information and motion over time for both the beds and the audio objects.
All right, welcome to the Wwise Expo Online. We are here today with a bunch of fine folks from Audiokinetic in cold Montreal, Quebec. Well, okay, maybe not so cold. What do you think? Yeah, cool. Yeah, thanks for joining in today, and thanks to Champagne and Guillaume for putting together that fantastic Wwise 25.1 product video that we just spun up front. And I'm super excited to be here today with team leads here at Audiokinetic who are taking up the challenge to celebrate the Audiokinetic 25-year anniversary and go past, present, and future with Wwise and AK. So thanks again for being here today.
Well, thank you, Damon.
So let's kick this off and tell us a bit about your role at Audiokinetic, how long you've been working on Wwise, and yeah.
Yeah, so my name is Alex, and I've been working here for my whole life. So straight out of school 22 years ago, which is a lot of time, but a lot of good years. I'm currently lead of the core team, so we're working on the runtime of the sound engine. So whatever runs on the platform and your game, the communication, packaging, everything about optimization and the platform itself. So yeah, that's what my team is doing.
Fantastic.
Hi, my name's Sam. I'm working as a lead for Wwise Framework. So we're working on the tech of the authoring tool. And our main project is to bring it to Mac as a native application. Been working at it for many years and still working. It's going well. Yeah, so looking into the future of the tech.
Thank you. I'm Xavier. I am Director of Research, and I've been there for 21 years almost, as can be seen with my very vintage T-shirt. Worked back in the days. I used to be work programming in the sound engine. Later on, being the bit of the math dude, and eventually pulled myself towards the more experimental development and research. So we like to partner with collaborators from third parties that make cool stuff, and try to see how it can fit into our product and make Wwise better. So, Benoit.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Ben. I've been with AK for almost 13 years now. I lead the integrations team, so anything that has to do with Unity, Unreal, that's us. Started out as a two-side projects. Then they hired me to bring that a bit forward. And now 13 years later, here we are.
Amazing.
Hello. This is Bernard. So I'm a director Wwise Experience. I've been with Audiokinetic for the last almost 21 years in 1 month. Essentially taking care of the experience of the authoring and the Wwise experience. So making sure everybody feels great about Wwise and enjoy it in their work. So I've been involved since the beginnings of Wwise, the first views, first sliders, profilers, interactive music, all those things that you find in Wwise. It's been a long time.
Fantastic. Well, and again, I think for me, it's so great after having worked with Wwise so many years as part of my career as a technical sound designer to arrive here 6 years ago as a product manager, working with you all, having access to you after those years of being a creator out there working with Wwise, reaching for these ideas of interactive audio. And so having access to you now as part of my day-to-day, well, I thought, how nice would it be to take some of that and carry it to the community outside of Audiokinetic? So again, thank you so much for being here today as part of that. And the CEO of Audiokinetic, Martin Klein, was on a recent Audiokinetic documentary you can find on our YouTube channel. And he said, the heart of Audiokinetic are the people. And so with so many of you stretching back to the origin of Wwise, can you talk more about the culture of Audiokinetic over the years? How has developing tools as a team changed across disciplines? Just how have things changed over these last years that you've been part of Audiokinetic? And what's that feel like as a culture?
Well, one of the big change that arrived with the year at Audiokinetic is we started as a company that would be providing a simplification for the sound designer, the programmer, to have very easy and uniform way to produce a game, have it on all platforms. So we created a clear abstraction that would be super separating between the sound designer and the programmer. We did it, and it's still there. Ever since, we've been answering requests from our users to add features, open the doors, and unlock all the possibilities, which now makes it a super set of tools. So there's not one more ways of using Wwise now. There's a lot of different ways, and it's really empowering the user. So that's a great move. It can be confusing, like when you learn Wwise now. If you were learning Wwise 15 years ago, it was pretty straightforward. Like this is how you play the event, this is how you control it, and just do your game this way. Nowadays, you have all these lessons that you need to learn if you want to push forward. You don't have to. You can stick with the basic and it's going to be working. But now there's so many open door to add your plugins and to add your spatial audio features, to customize your thing. That's one big change that happened over the year. I think for a change for the good.
Absolutely.
What change?
Well, I can speak a bit for the inside culture in terms of like working together and having fun together. So we've been having bigger offices. Now we have space to do all karaoke's and jams every Thursday of the all Thursdays of the month almost. There's a activity. So that's been a big part of AK kind of feeling as a family. I feel we're not also a very big company. We're a good sized company, and I think it shows in how we interact together. I feel been here for less time than you guys. So even back in your days, you were even less than we were. But I think in the last year we've almost gained double the amount of employees in like the 5, 6, 7 years. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy when you think about it.
And what I love is I'll land here on the ground in Montreal a few times a year for some time, like now, and there's always something happening that I can participate in, whether it is the karaoke that I love, or last week it was, the jam, bringing together different musicians, spectators. Well, everyone has a voice to lend sometimes, and this really feels like something that holds together. I think we were talking earlier, there's this idea of how many musicians do we have at Audiokinetic?
Yeah, and I'll echo what you just said, Damien and Sam. When I started, I was attracted by I was, making music as a hobby. So it was a way to connect music, sound, and technology. And then I found out that everybody, probably everyone except maybe Alex, at Audiokinetic was, frustrated musicians. But then it's like you asked how it evolved, and I think that, like you said, the past 10 years we grew quite a lot and diversified. I think there's way more people from different backgrounds having different interests, being a more diverse period.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add?
Yeah. Well, one thing Sam mentioned, when I started, we were 20, 25 employees, all in the same open space. Now, 13 years later, we're like 150. But the general feeling whenever I come to the office hasn't changed. There's that sense of collaboration, everyone working together towards a common goal that was there 13 years ago and has never left. Things have been a bit difficult with COVID. The office kind of emptied. It's hard to get people back. But I'm surprised every time I come, there's always someone, there's always interesting discussions, and it's always centered around how can we make our tools better.
Yeah, and if I can close on that, we are at the right place when we wake up in the morning and we know we're going to have a great day because we're working with great people and we have great challenge to solve, and it's always fun.
Excellent. I feel the same. Thank you. And what about features? Is there something in your history, something you're proud of, you continue to see as part of the product that you contributed to that lives on?
Yeah, I may start with maybe the most boring view in Wise, the list view. Who thought Wise? Who thought Wise was a good Excel spreadsheet? Yes. Yeah, it's a boring view, but it's a bit the not the essence of Wise, but a bit of my goal to make things more generic, reusable, customizable, and some people will really take it and make their own, and some people will just use it as is. But just a good example of what Wise is, flexible. Yeah.
I got three. Can we elaborate, or is it?
Yeah, go.
One, maybe the earliest I can think of, which I'm very proud of, is interactive music. Worked a lot on it with Bernard. We didn't know what we were doing. I mean, we had no idea this hadn't been done. Remember reading, white papers from Guy Whitmore, and other
Amazing.
authority figures, thought leaders. They had ideas. Oh, should be able to do this and that, and we came up with a feature set. I'm pretty happy about it, although there's been some mistakes that I regret not getting there. Okay. And another one is HDR. This one was pretty cool. We did it in collaboration with Brad Meyer from Sucker Punch, and there was that. So that idea came from Dice, and it was a bit sold like it would solve dynamic mixing, and this is how we started. But then experimenting with that, we realized that it wasn't solving dynamic mixing. It was providing a new workflow. It was providing more tools, focusing, but we kind of realized that as we built it. It was very interesting. And the last one maybe is what used to be called spatial audio, but is now called Wwise Acoustics. And also maybe the underlying 3D buses that, me, but mostly Nathan Harris implemented. The complexity of having buses that exist in the 3D world and represent are used to model space. It's just the complexity of it is mind-boggling. You wouldn't imagine. I'm pretty happy where it landed, and so the feature set evolved from there. Working in close collaboration with the Wwise Acoustics team, and it's getting better.
Always.
Those were my three.
Thank you.
Favorite project I worked on, I look at that table and I see those little spit plants from the WAG, the Wise Adventure game.
Yeah.
It's actually it's going to be 10 years in September that we kicked off that project. September 2016, Simon Ashby comes to me and says, yeah, I've got those 2 students that reached out to me. They have an internship project to do and they'd like to work with us. Oh, by the way, they're in Denmark. And Simon explained the project. I met with them. So Mass Moretti and Jacob Lingard. And I mean, the rest is history, right? Mass is now the face of our education department, making all of those super cool videos. We have an awesome sample made in Unity. We have 2 certifications built around it. And it was a complete curveball thrown at me during we need to ship the next major version kind of rush. And I'm so happy we jumped in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice throwback. And of course, Mass printed these 3D spit plants. And I'll throw it back even further because because Simon Ashby called me on the phone before I worked at Audiokinetic, years before I worked here, and asked me to write the Wwise Project Adventure, which was hundreds of pages of handbook for how to author a game project in Wwise, which formed a foundation for the Wwise adventure game. And if that doesn't sound like time travel to you, I'm right there again thinking about how lucky I was to be there in that moment.
And is this where I can say you're actually starring in the Wwise adventure game?
It's true. It's,
So the blacksmith is Damien's voice. Yep.
So jump in. Lucky you. You can hear my voice acting debut there. Yeah. Thanks, Ben.
Well, one of the main feature we've been working on is one of the first feature that was not just playing audio. You know, when we started coding, we had to do the sound engine playing sounds, you know, decoding, encoding, mixing, basics. And then we came out with the first feature that was actually going to be a bonus for the sound designer, which was the virtual voice system priority management, which is basically a way to tell them, don't worry about what's going to play, just play it everything, and then you're going to have another set of rules that is going to prioritize, make sounds, might make the right sound to play at the right time, and without using all the resources. So it's like really empowering. And it was like, if you were not using a sound engine back then, that was one thing everyone had to do, some culling, some smart system to do that. And it was kind of tricky, and solving that for the sound designer was a fun challenge.
Oh, that's such a fantastic feature, because we take it for granted how automated that optimization is for the transition from physical to virtual voices. And so, yeah, like, where would we be if we still had to manage that somehow manually? And it makes me think of auto-defined sound banks in the same way, a recent feature that was added by the integrations team and the core team to support the management of assets in a automated way. So yeah, congrats on continuing to bring those kind of transparent optimizations for folks so that, yeah, they can focus on the bigger picture of the experience of sound in games. Nice.
Quick one. So I think I need to mention Whuppy. This was something that the Bernard's team did the year before I came into 8 years ago. And I think since its debut, and as it evolved out of SoundFrame, the original version, has become kind of the super empowering tool for customizing and implementing workflows in Wwise, which I think is kind of shows the openness of that ecosystem. And now we've got people doing even crazier stuff, and I gotta say a shout out to a team who figured out some stuff that we exposed and wasn't really, in a way, it was a bug, but they turned it into a feature. And we made a fix for that so that they could use it and kind of start playing around with views and layouts in ways that just worked for them, and they were super happy. So I think it's kind of shows that it's features building up on features, and customers are as involved as we are into making that product a good product and a good experience.
Amazing. Yeah, the Wwise Authoring API, we're going to unpack that acronym, right? It's like WAPI is, a connective tissue between Wwise Authoring and other tools or workflows that exist outside of Wwise that allow you to reach into the project, understand it, and then execute on whatever workflow speed ups that you can take. Yeah, good. That's a great feature.
Oh, and a quick one, the GameObject 3D Viewer toolbar, loving it. Check it out.
Okay, so well, that maybe does bring us firmly to the present 25.1 release of Wwise that just came out a few months ago. And, you know, we're going to stick around here for a while after this conversation and come back for a Ask Me Anything. So, folks out there who are tuned in and have questions, please drop them into the chat and we'll circle back later. But in the meantime, let's talk 25.1. What are, you know, how do you get here, right? How do you get to the release, or how do you prepare for it? What goes through your mind as you're getting ready to build the next version of Wwise? And of course, this is timely for us right now because we're in the midst of planning for the 26.1 version coming up. So should be pretty fresh, right? So what goes into planning the next version of Wwise?
Well, the first thing we have in mind is community feedback. There's not a lot that makes it into Wwise or its integrations that hasn't been brought up by the community, our customers, our users, our students, name it. It's always the first priority on our mind when we plan for a new release, until platform vendors release new platforms and then, like, we have to scramble everything and support it. But I mean, the real world is just that. So yeah, I mean, the features we're putting into 26.1, I'm not going to spoil anything, but yeah, it all comes from direct feedback from the community.
Nice. Yeah, so take those surveys, respond to those emails looking for focus group participation, use the betas. Yeah.
Yeah, our role as leaders is to listen to the users, take note of everything that is being said, also take note as what are the objectives for the company, and digest everything and try to come up with a solution that is going to cover the most scope as possible and deliver something that makes sense for the user. It's always a challenge to come up with the solution to the requests, but we work with the user for using iterations. We do prototypes. We do show our work to them. We have Damien is organizing discussions prior to the betas with our users, so we can discuss with them about solution. And the betas are there also for people to try it out and to tell us how they feel about it, and we can iterate. And in the end, 25, yeah, is good. And your question was a bit, what is in 25?
Yeah, what goes into this release, or you know, what do you bring to it? I think you answered it well, and maybe I'll add just to that. You know, thanks to everyone who has shown up to be part of those feedback conversations. As Bernard mentioned, we'll bring mock-ups to people, we'll bring prototypes and get hands-on. I remember as we were moving through adding in the new property editor in a recent version of Wwise. In advance, we were out there asking people in the community to put their hands on it. And it starts with us inside Audiokinetic. We're all kind of the first testers for features. And then from there, we try to bring those either expert perspectives or new perspectives in order to ensure that we're kind of catching all of the ways that a feature would be used. And so again, just extending what you're saying, it's a big part of that getting ready and preparing for the next release.
If I may add, we have lots of users doing lots of very different games. We've got strategy games, racing games, first-person shooters, name it. And they're all different. They all have a different scale, a different size. And our job is to come up with something that can fit inside all of those different worlds. And we cannot do that without the feedback from our community.
Yeah.
So it's extremely important we reach out and we listen and summarize what you tell us about what we do.
Yeah, well said. What about 25.1? What's new in the box that you're excited about people to get their hands on and to bring to the experiences that they're authoring with Wwise?
No, I'll start. There's maybe two things that come to my mind that I want to share. It's one of them is well, to a broader extent, it's the media pool. But from my perspective, it started off as a collaboration with Sony AI, where they're very smart people working on very like hard problems, but we kind of with them collaboration from kind of steered it towards a feature that I think is it's an AI feature that I think is useful. It's like it's the good AI.
Yeah, and this is the similar sound search.
Yes, I didn't mention
Perfect.
it. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, is that. So that's that was one of them that I want to mention. The other one is the dual shell filter, which is a kind of a new filter built in the attenuation editor. Well, in Wwise property, but it's a core filter and it's a core filter for many reasons. You ought to read Alan Lee's blog, just came out, and I think one of the most important reason we wanted to implement that was to was to have a filter that would be able to mimic like more natural sounds, more natural sound effects that come from the environment. For example, obstruction, for example, or diffraction. When you pass through a door, we used the control that the designers used to have was essentially our low pass filter, which is for the geeks. It's a second order Butterworth filter. Okay, and that's pretty steep. And that has kind of like that sweeping effect, when it moves. And I remember Simon saying at some point, "Oh, I kind of recognize Wwise when I hear them pass through doors, and it doesn't." And it's very subtle. Now, geeks like us kind of notice this, or maybe like you in the audience. But hopefully, with that filter, you have maybe a more natural way to like model that phenomenon, and other things like I'm hoping you're gonna do with it. So those were my two features. Someone else.
Well, talking of features, filters, the parametric EQ in 25 is finally updated. So one of the oldest, most used filter has been optimized, and the UI is now refreshing. So for all of you who've been trying to play with it and tune it by entering numbers into edit boxes, well, we have now a very brand new UI. It looks fresh. It's so visual. It's so comfortable. Just go try it. It feels different.
Yeah, fantastic.
I'll say that it's still, I mentioned it already, Gammagic 3D viewer toolbar, but in general, like that view in like spatial audio has gained better settings, acoustics now. All right.
Shifting.
That's great. Well, I think it's a great tool in general, and this little sneak peek keeps getting better. So I think in general, that's one part. The other one was just in behind the scene kind of unification of the tech behind Wwise, so that we make it grow towards a eventual more streamlined experience, as we do every year. You've seen with the property editor in other years, and as we go towards that goal, so that excites me a lot, and it keeps getting better every year, even in 25.
So maybe another word on the media pool. We have been talking about media pool for, I don't know, maybe 10 years. We have been mentioning it in conversation, but nobody really knew what it was. And 2 years ago, actually every summer, our team, we do what we call a prototype week, where we spend 1 week on a topic that is somewhere in our roadmap, and we like explore this, and we code stuff, and we try different concepts. And 2 years ago, we implemented some kind of a media pool, and we had this window you could search sounds, and it just slept there for a year, and then poof, eventually became a feature. And the Sony AI collaboration was like a good fit for it, and now we can bring it together and then make something of it, like a real feature that makes sense.
Well, and really with the goal of allowing people to either start their content creation or continue iterating on their content creation as part of Wwise, with that ability to reach for sounds from your sound library, have them updating live in real time as part of the live edit and live media transfer feature. Media Pool brings that within reach so that you can, again, lean into sound design as part of your Wwise workflow. So an important piece there, because really it's that runtime iteration where you have the most fun. You're connected to the game, you're running live. And I think the other cool piece of that was connecting the project originals, being able to navigate the sounds that you have in your project so that those are also within reach for reuse, because, there comes a point where you can't throw more sounds at a project. You have to get creative with what's in the box, and having those within reach just makes it easier and more powerful. So cool one.
And my favorite feature in 25.1 is, I think we can say it's tying up with a bow the asset management journey I've been on for a few years now. So really bringing auto-defined sound banks and the Wwise browser in Unity, finally finishing up, bringing parity to what we did in Unreal, bringing that in Unity, integrating that with addressables so that you can deliver your content as you want. And really, it's what's been centered to that asset management journey was essentially to allow you to stop worrying about asset management. No need to manually manage sound banks anymore, and thinking about data duplication in memory, and like, we take care of it now. And after a few bumps in the road, I think we've came up with something that works well, that has the flexibility people need, that allow you to deliver your content as you want, even in additional content modules that are maybe not shipped with the original game, which was all a bit hard to do before auto-defined sound banks.
Yeah, well, and like you said earlier, so many different ways to create a project, so many different kinds of projects in the first place. And the process of learning through people using Wwise, how they're doing it, that has informed this arrival to something that covers that asset management pipeline from end to end across our integrations, in a way that's flexible to meet everyone's needs. Yeah, there's some cool stuff in the box. Stay tuned. We're going to dig into a few more features coming up in a few minutes. But let's shift the clock forward to the future a little bit. So, I don't know. This one struck me as an interesting question. What would you say to someone who's thinking about using Wwise for the first time in the future?
Get the launcher.
Okay, Audiokinetic launcher. That's the place to start. And dig back in. We did a great getting started in game audio with Wwise live stream with the education team a while back that could give you a few more tips.
have a look at the certifications. I talked about them with the Wise Adventure game. They're really, really comprehensive and give you a good starting point to getting to grips with Wise.
About the launcher, I was joking, but not really. So the launcher team has been working hard recently to update the sample section in the launcher. So now you can install, for example, the Wise Adventure game and get all the dependencies installed with it. So you get the correct Wise version that goes with it, and you don't need to care about the details. You just click install and it works. And the documentation is also all there. So it's a good place to start.
Yeah, there's been great work done to make that first-time user experience for installing our samples much smoother. Thanks, Bernard.
Yes, your question resonates with me. Well, to me, with Wise Acoustics and how it's a difficult feature to access because it requires that you have a deep understanding of the signal model in Wise and how it relates to space and it's not clear, the path. I'm always amazed to see how like good our clients are and like see their projects and oh yeah, they figured that out. And so the and obviously and so we are working towards making it more accessible, but the path is not obvious. So
if I can say, the acoustic phenomenon itself is quite complex, right? Like, even though we live it every day, understanding it, unpacking it, having the agency over the way it works, well, that's almost like magic.
It's a model of the world, right? And
Yeah.
our rooms and portals feature is much more. It's very manual. It's all the power is in the creator's hands for the better or the worse. You need to make you need to make everything, and you need to make it in such a way that it will be consistent, or like that will meet expectations, because we live in a world where like sounds obey physics, but you don't necessarily want to have just a physics simulation because you want it to sound better or you want some aesthetics. So that feature set is very much oriented like pro creator. Maybe I'm skipping steps here because I'm thinking like we're in the future section here, right?
Yeah.
That in the future we'll have a bit more for those so inclined, a bit more automatic or physics-based simulation, but all while keeping that kind of control. So I guess it's just at that point it's a matter of how much control you want to have. And some will want all of it, but will work harder for it. And this is what we have at the moment.
Well, and there were steps there with the Wise Early Reflections plugin recently to bring a simplified workflow to it, so that you could inherit the attenuations of sounds that we're using Reflect by default, as opposed to when it was introduced, having to author those curves for early reflections by hand manually. So again, I think I see such a great progression there with bringing the complexity of that simulation and then continuing to refine towards something that is simplified.
It's 2022 though, simplify and reflect.
Okay, let's throw it back.
It's a great example.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, just a general, I think it's depend what type of person you are, but if I were to just give an advice, I'm kind of the tinkerer type. So if you're that tinkerer type, just download the sample and do connect and play around. Play the game a bit and look in the profiler, the voice graph. Just have a look at what's going on in that system. Double click on stuff and try to play around with the sliders. It's crazy how, in the end, it is kind of intuitive, at least. There's a lot of stuff, but a lot of stuff you can tweak. So start tweaking. Play with those curves. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and live media transfer. That's right.
Yeah.
Right. So just add a new, take the media pool, grab a free sample from Strata, play around and change the sounds and see it happen in live in the game.
Yeah, it was one of the biggest requests forever. People, we always advertise Wwise as being, you can connect and edit and you're going to hear it. You can change the volume, edit your curves was working. But changing a sound was not there because back then, 20 years ago, just transferring full audio over the network was not an option. Now you can connect on your whatever platform you're playing it on, and you will it will automatically in the background re-encode, reapply the effect, upload that, and you'll see any effect in real time. So now the live edit is really live, way more than it was before. So yeah, it's been a many year increment, like 23, 24, 25 add different step of the live edit improving, and now we reached a point where everything is working now.
It's beautiful.
And every future feature will also now.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. Well, the future. We're going to talk more about Wwise as part of a Ask Me Anything session after I talk about Wwise 25.1 and some news. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, hold tight because we're going to talk details and features of Wwise 25.1. So get your questions queued up and we'll be right back. All right. Welcome back and thanks for hanging tight. This has been a great discussion, but I just wanted to give you a brief on some of the cool stuff that is happening. This is the Wwise Expo, and I'm so excited to be here with some of the leads here at Audiokinetic talking about Audiokinetic 25th anniversary, past, present, and future. Let's go. This is the schedule we've been looking at, and we are celebrating the 25th anniversary of Audiokinetic. You can dig deeper into our YouTube channel in several segments we have out there about the story of Wwise, the story of Audiokinetic, and our mentors advice videos. This is a large selection of videos from folks out there in the game audio community giving advice about their experience working with interactive audio. And if you're going to be at the Game Developers Conference in March, come see us. We're going to be there on March 11th and 12th as part of the Audiokinetic Community Theater at the Metreon. We've got a great lineup of presentations scheduled for folks, so hit that QR code, get signed up to get notified about those presentations, and I can't wait to see you there. It's going to be an interesting time on the ground in San Francisco this year as part of GDC's Festival of Gaming. And if you like karaoke, we are hosting the Audiokinetic community, the Audio Community Karaoke, sponsored by Audiokinetic on Tuesday, March 10th. Hit that RSVP. It's required as we head towards a night of singing amongst the community. And I think we need a little bit of a singing release this year. So please come out and share your voice with the community. Bernard mentioned some great changes to the sample section of the Audiokinetic launcher, and they have also been working hard to add single sign-on. So now you can get the Audiokinetic launcher, hit that sign-in. It takes you to your customer profile on the web where you can sign on and bring that back to the Audiokinetic launcher one time. So it's a beautiful way to stay in the ecosystem and have what you need within reach as part of the Audiokinetic launcher and customer profile. Meanwhile, we've added Chinese translation to the launcher. So if you're in China or can read Chinese, this is a new feature for you. But let's talk about Wwise 25.1. We had our launch late last year, bringing you more of what Wwise is good at, which is immersive audio simplified, empowering you to deliver outstanding interactive experiences. We do that across the different areas of Wwise represented on the ensemble cast. Across user experience, our 3D audio and acoustics, sound engine and integrations, and other friends. So dig deeper into what is behind this year's release. If you joined us for the beta, thanks for your feedback. And be sure to check out the What's New for 25.1 to get a enumerated list of all the cool stuff in the box. You can also jump back in time to our hands-on live streams that we did during the beta. We did a full walkthrough of all of the features. We went hands-on with the media pool and similar sound search, side chaining and multiband dynamics, acoustics and integrations. Familiar faces on today's ensemble helped carry these features to the live stream in long form over last summer. But let's just look at a few highlights. In the user experience, there was one feature we held back until the full release, and that was the return of the fader. This was the brings the ability to choose between the vertical or horizontal slider for voice and bus volume. So folks who were used to having this visible and as an identity as part of the user experience for editing properties now have that ability to bring it back for the voice and bus volume. And we're just going to continue to bring visual identity to that property editor that arrived as part of Wwise 24.1 and that we have iterated on in 25.1. The media pool, we talked a bit about it in the ensemble, but it is the best way to start designing sounds or continue iterating sounds using Wwise at runtime when you're connected to a game or offline as part of your container behaviors. So dig into the media pool. There's a ton of great features in there, like filters, region selection, being able to import files as part of the audio file importer. And the search works across a couple of different areas. You have your selected fields for metadata search and filters, and then you have the similar sound search feature, which is an opt-in feature that leverages AI to help you find sounds using an audio description, as well as finding similar. So results ranked based on their similarity to provided reference audio or provided audio description. So again, check that box in the Audiokinetic launcher for a 25.1 version to get the similar sound search installed. And really, this is about trying to understand your sound libraries, whether you have done the extensive tagging yourself or not. We all know that there are corners of our library that we can't quite reach with a traditional text-based search. And so similar sound search really gives you that ability to reach into those corners that might not be tagged and find things that are either on target with your description or maybe surprising that wouldn't come up in traditional search. And this was part of our partnership with Sony AI to create the first AI-powered text-to-audio and audio-to-audio sound effects search tool for professional production. Thanks to the folks over there. And again, dig back in time to check out the hands-on that we did with the team on this feature. And as we've been talking about, this is really part of that focused and iterative real-time workflow, live media transfer, live editing, content creation, and iteration at runtime. All of this working together to drive you closer to hearing the sound in your head coming out of the speakers as part of an interactive experience. The feature I would have mentioned as part of 25.1 as being one of my favorites is merging the hierarchies and renaming things. Not the most exciting feature you might think, but we heard a lot from early learners about how difficult it was to access some of the terminology in Wwise. And I'm excited here to arrive with a merged actor mixer and interactive music hierarchy that we now call containers. The actor mixer container itself has been renamed property container. The master mixer hierarchy, let's get rid of that terminology. Now the buses hierarchy. And when you create a new bus as part of that, at the top level, it's now called the main audio bus. So again, small change, but we think it will have a big impact on our early learners and really just help to unify vocabulary moving forward in Wwise. Dynamic mixing. This story for 25.1 is awesome. It's off the hook. Alex mentioned it in the ensemble discussion, but we've got the multi-band meter, which expands on the meter as it has been in Wwise and adds additional bands that can be enabled, monitored, output to game parameters, and then brought back as RTPCs to be used throughout the projects. So this is really answering questions and workflows that had become a little unwieldy out in the wild that we had seen, and consolidates that all as part of the new multi-band meter. Additionally, we have a new sidechain mix object that can be sent to and then used across our compressor, expander, and as part of our parametric EQ, which you can see it moving here. It's fully dynamic and visual. You can easily understand what you're doing with EQ now, and as Alex mentioned, optimized and ready for your workflow. Meanwhile, Integrations has done a great job of bringing into parity the workflows across Unity and Unreal with a unified Wwise browser. And as Ben mentioned, there's been a ton of work to put everything into its place with regards to asset management throughout the pipelines between Wwise, auto-defined sound banks, and addressables in Unity, as well as packaging in Unreal. We also added great new flexibility for the Wwise dynamic dialogue feature in Unreal. This gives you full accessibility through blueprints and code to the dynamic dialogue feature, which really is more than just for voice. This is a runtime decision-making system that allows you to make these decisions in a moment-to-moment about what to play back. And we will continue to work on our GIMS initiative, which bring these tiny sample-sized bytes of feature to our Git repository for validation that your integration is that your custom integration is still working the way you intend, but also helps us to just create these tiny little pieces of functionality that can help you understand how they work across both Wwise, Unity, and Unreal. So check out the GIMS if you haven't. Spatial audio came across a couple different vectors in 25.1. First with the dual shelf filter and Game Object 3D Viewer toolbar. Xavier went into depth talking about the value that the dual shelf filter brings to natural sounding filtering over distance and as part of diffraction and transmission. So great stuff happening there, and check out the blog from Alan that just went up on the Audiokinetic blog. Meanwhile, we're continuing to experiment with the ADM or audio definition model format. In 24.1, we added the ability for you to bring ADM sources in at the beginning of the pipeline and allow those to flow through Wwise. And in 25.1, we added the experimental ADM recorder, which allows you to put that effect on a bus in the bus's hierarchy and record the parts of the mix that arrive there across different categories like pass-through, main mix, objects, and configurations. So dig into that. We think it's going to be a great tool for folks out there who are working across disciplines with either marketing or cinematics to be able to bring a greater level of precision to what you deliver to folks so that they can have what they need to, continue their work. Meanwhile, the sound engine, we had wave playback added for external sources, and you don't have to take my word for it. There's a couple of great blogs out there describing the external source workflows across a couple of different projects. But wave playback now makes that easier than ever for you to pick up those audio files and push them through the Wwise pipeline. We also had a bunch of other great features land as part of the sound engine, including the behavioral rewrite that's underway and the command buffer API that we will continue to iterate forward, giving people even greater access to what's happening at the low level of the Wwise sound engine. So that's it. As Bernard mentioned, jump into the Audiokinetic launcher and install a version of 2025.1. Take the survey. It's right there next to your installation. Let us know how we're landing with these features, because as we've all noted, this is the first and best part of planning is listening and understanding the way you're reaching for these ideas in Wwise. Report bugs, ask questions, contact support. We're here, as part of the community to continue to work together so that you can pull off some cool tricks using Wwise. It's 25 years of Audiokinetic. I'm going to hand this off to a few folks in the community to talk a little bit about mentorship.
Three words that come to my mind as I think of Wwise are deep, sophisticated, and quick.
Game changer, interactive beast, and problem solver.
I would have to say innovative, powerful, and creative.
When I think of Wwise, I think of efficiency, creativity, technology.
Powerful, intuitive, and flexible.
Good audio middleware.
Powerful, expandable, and robust.
Solid, like an engine that always runs. Lots of fun and creative.
If I could describe Wwise in 3 words, it would be unlimited power, exclamation mark.
All right. Welcome back, and thanks for sticking around, folks who are still with us. Hey, good to see you again. Wait, you've been here the whole time. So let's, we got some great questions from the community. Let's get going. So the first question is the most important. Who from Audiokinetic is going to be singing at karaoke this year?
We all know I am. Oh no, that's right. No,
At
sorry.
GDC, just me in this room. Okay, certifications were mentioned earlier. Are all certifications going to be updated to use 25.1? We'll check in with our education team, but on their behalf, I would say that we are continuing to update our certifications to the most current version. We did the 101 and just recently the 201. And so, yes, that effort is continuing across our certifications moving forward. Also, did you guys have questions? Think about that. Okay. Other questions coming in from the chat? Okay, here's the first one. What's with the cats?
Yeah, show them out.
Yeah.
The original cat was a T-shirt for GDC 2019, right?
Sounds right.
It's my favorite T-shirt. I always get very good comments about it, and I think those comments are ubiquitous. So I'm assuming that the marketing team was like, "Oh yeah," and clinged on to that.
Must be good.
Didn't it originate from that Cats of Game Audio hashtag that was going around back in the day?
Yeah.
Decided to hop on that bandwagon.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cats of Game Audio was hot.
Socks of Game Audio.
Socks of Game Audio. Hey. Nice. Yeah. Coffee of Game Audio also. Okay. More questions. The Wwise browser in Unity. Why is it required now to be connected to the Wwise project?
It is not.
Okay.
You just lose a bit of functionality. So the Wwise browser kind of is your one view into all of the moving parts you have that represent a Wwise project. So it connects what you have in the actual Wwise authoring application as it is opened. It compares that to the state of what is in your generated sound banks. So, we've all been there. I made a change. I run the game and I don't hear it until I connect the profiler, right? Well, why is that? Because you didn't regenerate your sound banks. But now in 25.1, first, the browser will tell you have things out of date. But more importantly, too, use Live Edit and connect that profiler all the time while you are iterating. Don't bother yourself generating sound banks when you're creating. So that's the most important part. And finally, the Wwise browser also connects with what's in your game engine. So for Unity, the native engine asset management part is a bit hidden. But if you have addressables installed in your project, there's an extra column that will appear in your Unity browser, and it'll tell you what addressable group is assigned to every single event you have in your project. So it's a pretty unified view of where is everything, what is the status of everything, and are they in sync or not.
Beautiful. It kind of pulls together everything transparently so that you can understand the state of assets in your project.
Exactly.
Nice. Cool. Hey, Alex Brandon's on the line. Did I see geometry passed into Wwise in the 3D object profiler? Is that automatic these days?
Passing geometry in the 3D viewer?
Yeah.
That's always been the case since it's been supported in the 3D viewer, right?
Yeah.
So
you need to enable it.
Yeah. So you probably need to enable it. It's might not be it's probably opt-in. The profiling features spatial, like data around spatial audio and acoustics is takes space, so it's usually not enabled by default. But once it is, you'll get it, and you should have gotten it in the previous version as well.
Cool. Keep digging, Alex. It's in there. And I think the other thing to say there is that part of 25.1 now starts to bring selection to the game object 3D viewer for paths, where you can now start to see some information in our new game object 3D viewer properties panel.
It's just the beginning.
Ha ha ha. Yeah, future. Right? Cool. All right. Yeah.
We're moving on to a question. What do you thought?
Nope,
I got
take
a question for you guys here. What's your favorite little known feature of Wwise? Because you've been here quite a while. I'm sure there's plenty of hidden stuff or stuff that you wish were used more. I can start with one just before, so I can hand off the mic and doesn't come back. It's middle click to close tabs. For those who don't know, you can middle click and close tabs.
Pro.
Yeah, quicker.
Very old feature. Not so many people know about it. When you're setting the sample rate of your source, there was automatic level detection. So based on the content, it's going to filter out some quality out of the sound and make the sound smaller without you having to fine tune them. So make it your default and then enable and adjust and increase the quality on what you notice is going lower. You're going to save a lot of memory with just a click.
Nice.
Automatic loudness leveling. So in 25, I think we added one additional option in the loudness measurement for the on the conversion section. You get the short term and momentary, and yeah. So more options for automatic loudness leveling of your sources.
Yeah, and that's been a part of the HDR workflow in the past.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to just be part of HDR. I know folks will often take the road for peace of mind to master their assets at a certain loudness before importing into Wwise, but the idea here is that you check the box, it's normalized automatically, and then you use the volume in Wwise to control that.
Yeah. Next hidden gem is the command add-ons. So if you're nerdy enough to edit some JSON files, you can add your own command add-ons in Wwise and add your custom menus and right clicks and in the main menu and trigger your own scripts directly from Wwise.
Yeah, how would you describe a command add-on, I guess?
Essentially, it's something you execute on your computer on a user interaction such as a menu or a keyboard shortcut. And it could be anything. It could be a WAP script. It could be a browser or your game engine. You could just trigger stuff on your computer.
Awesome.
One that comes to my mind is the radial emitters. They're a bit of an accident, I would say, that feature. I think at that point we were developing more like reverb zones, but that's where we landed at that time. Essentially, having a source that has a radius that would be determined by the game, because this is an interesting part with so-called spread. It's exposed to users as a curve based on distance, but you could also see it as, the spatial extent of the source that emits the sound. And so if that's the case, then it's strictly from it's a game-driven setting. So I don't think it had much traction. It's on the spatial audio namespace, so it's hidden. It's on the SDK. more like when you use acoustics, but it ought to be eventually brought back more into the core of the sound engine because it's really a core feature.
And really, to get your eyes and hands on it, you can grab the Wwise Audio Lab sample project. We provide both the Wwise project as well as the Unreal source for you to dig right in. Check out that radial emitter. We've got it around the island as part of the ocean waves system. And again, a great example of that technology. And again, when you talk about the games, making determinations on that, can you give us an example of maybe how the game would? What's a good example
of how the game would use that feature?
Yeah, like I'm just thinking about Godzilla, right? Like I've got, Godzilla coming through my town. His footstep is of a certain size. But then if that Godzilla shrinks down to just a tiny little toy on my desk and is walking around, is this a good example of radial emitters?
That's an interesting one, a dynamic one. I wouldn't have thought of that in those terms.
Okay, give me one. Give me a good one.
Well, more maybe something to replace the... it seems like in the past, one had to jump through loops to implement like an ambience that will, have boundaries and that you'd step into like the room tone of a meadow or something, where the thing has shape, but we used to have like to draw splines and like implement some like moving the source so that it faces you, and now you should in theory just be able to like paint the volume with like those radial emitters. You just like put them there, and like when kind of like fitting big beads into a box of like any shape, and you should be able to implement somewhat of a volumetric source with that. It's a bit the idea that's been implemented, I think, in the Wwise Audio Lab for the ocean sounds.
Yeah. So jump into that. Cool feature. Absolutely. We're question free. Thanks to everyone out there in the community. Thank you to you at Audiokinetic for joining us. Having a great time here at the Wwise Expo. Thanks again to everyone who helped support this internally at Audiokinetic. We're, always reaching for this connection with the community out there using Wwise and reaching for these ideas in interactive audio. So thanks for joining us today and wishing you the best in the future. So stay good, take care of yourself, and take care of each other. We'll see you soon.